continuing our adventure through Vermont. It's time to do a case study in Burlington. Two malls are on the agenda, and we'll start with the University Mall, a nice mall with a very terrible name. The very imaginatively named University Mall was constructed and opened in 1979 with the original anchors Zayre and a rare Almies. With 300,000 square feet of retail space available, the mall would bring forward 42 specialty shops along with the anchors, hosting a ribbon-cutting ceremony by Vermont's governor at the time, Richard A. Snelling. Concerns were addressed about Pyramid's desire to build a mall in Williston, but those plans never got off the ground thanks to Act 250. Naysayers were quick to say that the mall would be the end of Burlington economies, but others were hopeful that things would level out and everyone would coexist over time. "1987 would see some turbulence for the mall, as Zayre chose to leave for a freestanding store, only to become an Ames later on. However, since the freestanding location was very close to the mall itself, University Mall simply expanded to meet it in 1989. Meanwhile, Almies would close down in 1987 and wouldn't get filled in until 1992 by Steinbach. The 90s would prove to be particularly fruitful, as JCPenney came to the mall in 1992, and in 1998, Sears would come to the mall as the fourth and final anchor, setting up a two-story location along with a parking garage. In 1997, Steinbach would shut its doors, getting filled in almost immediately by Bon-Ton. Entering the 2000s, Ames would shut its doors for the last time due to bankruptcy in 2002, and would sit vacant for quite a few years, Kohl's eventually filling in the void. In 2005, the mall would undergo another extensive renovation, bringing it to the look that we have today. The mall's history would be relatively quiet after this, until October 2017, when Bon-Ton announced it would be closing in January 2018. This opened up an opportunity for Target to enter the Vermont market, setting up its first store in the state right here. The store would open in October 2018. But then, in 2019, surprise surprise, Sears announced it would be closing its doors, along with 96 other stores, in early 2020. However, this mall seemed to weather the storm of 2020, managing to stay on its feet as the only destination mall in Vermont. While I have problems with the name of this mall, I do love the way it looks. It's a very tastefully done renovation at that, and gives this mall the slight impression that you're down somewhere near Florida coasts, as opposed to being in Vermont. Overall, it's got some real charm about it, especially in the ceiling bits. Alright, now let me explain why I hate the name University Mall. The name is probably the least unique for a mall ever. It's even worse than the directional gate malls, examples being Northgate or Southgate. Let me name just a few states off the top of my head that have at least one mall named University Mall, or even University Place. North Carolina, Virginia, Illinois, Florida, and Colorado. This mall would need a more distinct name to really stand out against the others. And I have a feeling the developers would go for something very pretentious like the Galleria at Burlington or the Forum at Burlington Colonnade, which would be even worse in my opinion. So we're kinda at a lose-lose scenario now with the name. Vermont is best known for its small business market and having the fewest national chains in the state. And while the mall is usually the central space for national chains, you can still see a couple small businesses in the food court, some with their own little quirks. Did you see the mural that puts a spin on classic Legend of Zelda? It's dangerous to go alone. Take this. So, what does the future hold for this mall? Well, hopefully it's still a fruitful one. That Sears in the back is dead weight and will need to be addressed, but it's also an awkwardly hidden spot to begin with, so you'd need something that doesn't need to be obvious to fill that space in. Either that or have its presence advertised quite a bit. Maybe this would be an opportunity for a local big shot to bring an entertainment venue in. It's not too late for some kind of arena, like Nerf guns or paintball. I'd come right back up for a game of that if it was done. The tour of University Mall is about to come to an end. But stick around. Let's go out to the other mall in Burlington, the Burlington Square Mall, which is now known as CityPlace Burlington. Alright, stop it right here. I was here on a Wednesday, and I learned the hard way that CityPlace Burlington is closed Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and I think Sunday too. So yeah, I got stopped by a locked door, so I had to wait until Thursday. And on top of that, they don't have a mall walker's hour, so I had to wait in cold April rain with a snowstorm forecasted the next day until that door was open to get in. I took 2 showers that day. 3 if you count Berlin Mall. This is what I had to do to get this place covered for you. This mall is a very sad and dark place compared to University Mall, and digging into this mall's history, I did find that it was the first mall in the city and likely coexisted with the University Mall until it began expanding like crazy in the 1990s. CityPlace Burlington was also recently chopped down, and it's only a third of its original size, with LL Bean as its final anchor. CityPlace Burlington started life in 1976 as the Burlington Square Mall, establishing itself as the first mall in Burlington with a Porches department store. This mall was established as part of a revitalization project for downtown in an effort to bolster the Church Street marketplace. While it would battle out with University Mall early on, it would manage to hold its own in the downtown district and would even expand to become a two-floor mall in 1980. Burlington Square Mall's tenants would dwindle over the years, unfortunately, losing its Porches anchor. The specific date of this loss I could not find. However, there was a major renovation in the plans for the mall, and these plans would be executed over the 90s. This would update the mall's image, bring in new tenants, a parking garage, and even a new anchor, Filene's. These plans seemed to work initially, keeping the mall viable and occupied. Unfortunately, these good times would not last, and as we came into the 2010s, tenants began to dwindle away once more, leaving the mall in a difficult spot. And finally, the inevitable came. In 2014, it was announced that the mall would undergo extensive redevelopment. Over the next several years up to now, these plans would be executed and the mall would be partially demolished, leaving us with this sliver by LL Bean. Macy's, which had acquired Filene's, would close down in March 2018. And finally, here in 2021, this is all that remains of the mall. The lower floor is closed off, and besides a phone kiosk, a souvenir shop, and a massage parlor, the mall has no reason to be open. I don't think it will be much longer before the rest of the mall gets demolished for future developments. This is a mall that I did not feel welcome in. It was a pain just trying to get in, and even then, it was very empty. I think I only ever saw one person that was not security or a tenant employee. And on top of that, LL Bean does not open out into the mall. It's kind of a shame that this mall ended up being a failure, because I imagine it would have looked nice back in the day. It's not really an amazing aesthetic it's going for, but it looked decent enough for what it is. The souvenir shop was nice. I got a couple trinkets for myself, along with an Interstate 89 sticker, seeing as I finally drove the entire length of it at some point in time. But it's clear that the CityPlace Burlington is becoming little more than a memory. The real star of downtown Burlington is the pedestrian walk at Church Street. And you know what? We can get a quick look at that on our way out. Let's do that. I would have loved to capture this ped walk in the daytime, while it was lively, and while the street performer was out singing songs. But that's what happens when I have to wait for the mall to open up. Nonetheless, thanks for having me, Burlington, Vermont, and until next time, this is Doomie Grunt, wishing you, and the University Mall, and the Church Street Marketplace farewell, and good luck in this mad, mad, mad world.